All right, welcome to the Mediaverse Studios podcast. We have with us tonight Chase Stine, a local filmmaker and location sound mixer and cinematographer, and basically just generally, deep into the film industry of any kind. And he's a outstanding filmmaker. We are very excited to have him on the podcast tonight and chat with him. So, how you doing, Chase?
That is a very, very generous intro, but thank you so much. I'm doing great, actually. I've had a long day, and I had nothing to look forward to except for this week. So I'm like, and I'm going to Beetlejuice tomorrow, but
Oh, hell yeah.
yeah, dude, I've been looking forward to this for so long.
Nice. Yeah, well, happy to have you. So let's get started with just kind of like what projects have you had recently? I've seen a few of them, but just kind of speak to what you're working on currently.
So to preface, I got a full-time gig at a digital marketing agency by the name of Nexus 6. Yes, I am the guy that brought his own microphone to the podcast because shameless self-plug. So, I mean, in terms of projects, every week it's something new. We have a bunch of clients that I'm constantly doing video and and photo for. We just brought the video and photo department in-house when I came on about 2 years ago.
Okay.
It was just me at first, and now we've got so many other really talented people behind the curtain. Always doing location sound jobs. You and me, we just did our little Star Wars project
We did some
together.
Star Wars, yeah, man.
Did sound on that and a little bit of camera work as well, just because we all were running the same camera, the FX3.
Yeah.
Hi, FX3.
FX3.
Yeah, because we just didn't ever want to use a Blackmagic again, but that's just...
All right, we're going to have to fight about that. But yeah, tell me more about the Nexus 6 project going on, because I'm really interested in what you guys are doing there.
I brought some gifts to you guys from a newer
Thank you.
client of ours, a lovely little cigar company by the name of Christoph Cigars. They make premium cigars, and I brought you guys some samplers just because I really appreciate those guys, and they got a really cool product. We just did a whole product photo shoot for them for every single one of their lines of cigars.
Wow.
They have I think we shot maybe somewhere around the ballpark of 50 different products.
Wow.
With that real old like rustic style for their older products, and now I'm going to, I think it's Illinois soon, to shoot some actual action shots of them being smoked.
Oh, cool.
We just had a really good success with a client called Myalu Coffee. They're
Okay.
a little coffee shop off of Floor Drive, right by Floor Cinema.
Yeah.
It's Nepalese. The owner is from Nepal.
No kidding.
And he brings a lot of that culture into the coffee they make. They have legit chai and all this good stuff in there. And we did a photo shoot with them for their products, and did a photo shoot with the owner and his daughter. He named the shop after his daughter and his mother. Combined the two names, Lulu and Maya.
Oh,
And
cool.
so Myalu. And they posted something, and it got really good results, and it's always good to have a win.
Yeah,
Especially in the marketing game. We've got a client, Universal Logistics Trucking Company,
Okay.
man. They
All
do
right.
trucking logistics. Everything sounds and no offense to anybody, all of it sounds boring, but it is so intriguing and interesting to see how this all works, and then having the challenge of translating that, and making it interesting to people watching any of the projects we do for any of our clients. I think we do a really good job of making whatever it is you do look pretty cool. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's the cool thing about any sort of commercial videography is you get to sort of experience all these different industries and try to make them, as interesting as they could possibly be, because that's what they want for marketing, right? Is they want to stand out and they want to be unique in some way. And so that's the really neat challenge when it comes to doing the sort of commercial advertising that you're doing.
Oh yeah. I mean, and commercial is such a different beast than narrative work that we do. But it offers its own new challenges, and it's I love it a lot. I got a really cool team I get to work with at Nexus. So shout out to everybody at Nexus if you decide to watch. I know you won't. You're all assholes though. So you're my assholes.
Does Nexus 6 mostly do most of the advertising, or do you guys do narrative work?
So we're a full service digital marketing agency.
Okay.
So not only are we doing your advertising, whether it be photo or video, but we also do there's website design. I know we've done
Wow.
app development before. Social media management, SEO, that sort of stuff. Like everything you can think of from a marketing perspective, we do. And yeah, we've done narrative based stuff before. Like commercials, obviously. When you're trying to do, we did a commercial run for one of my favorite clients, Honest Wrenches, just an automotive repair shop. And we did this campaign. It was this commercial, like the best part of being a dog is, and it was just really fun to shoot with this really cool company making this cheesy, awesome commercial.
Nice.
And then we have like a client, Revelton Distilling Company. We did a documentary on how their gin was made.
Oh, cool.
So not really narrative based, but in the sense that it's a documentary style narrative.
Gotcha.
Just telling the story of how Revelton came to be and how they started making their gin as good as it is.
Well, that's what you're kind of seeing now most days is a lot of like ads. They're not just like, here's our service, here's what we provide, here's some of the staff. It's a narrative. They tell a story with their ad, and that's kind of what they use to captivate their audience and get their product, kind of on the market. And it's not necessarily all about the product. It's about the story they're telling, which is, I think, extremely important to audiences who are trying to watch an advertisement.
And that's what we put in a lot of all of our, like when we try to bring on a client, we have to let them know that the number one thing that every single one of our employees is a storyteller. Whether they're in graphic design or they're in sales, they're storytellers.
I love that.
We love telling a story because it's the story that sells it.
Absolutely.
It's the people behind it, behind the product.
Right.
It's totally 50-50. It's got to be a good product, but the people behind the product have to be just as good.
And that's something that's so primal, I think, to humanity is from even like the first cavemen, we were storytellers, right? That's how we passed the time. That's how we stayed alive. That's how we built community, is through the telling of stories. And so that is something that's very ingrained in our DNA and what we respond to. So that's important to keep going today.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh,
Get those good neck cracks in there.
yeah, I do that. My boss actually makes me crack his neck sometimes because he sees me do that. He's like, "Can you do that to me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I actually can."
Oh, man.
Yeah. So yeah, Nexus 6, one of the, I don't know how I got so lucky to have, what some people would consider a dream job at 27 years old, but here I am.
Wow. Yeah, they seem like a real, like, kind of end-to-end. If you're a local business or even like a large business, you're something that you can really get established with and then have like ongoing service from them.
Yeah, that's the thing is our client base, we do let them know is like we're not corporate America. We're not a corporate marketing agency.
Sure.
Literally on our logo it says Nexus 6 don't suck. Because that's a whole concept of what we want to do.
Nice.
Want to do something that doesn't suck.
Right. What's your position there?
I believe the title is either one of two things. I have a business card. I should just read off that because it's usually one of two things. It's either content manager or multimedia manager. I can't remember which it is. Content manager.
All right.
So all photo and video essentially goes through me. I'm the head of that department.
Cool. Wow, that's amazing.
I'm also on set every time. I have never had to have a completely freelance project yet. I've been on every single thing we've done, when it's photo and video. So proud of that.
Is that pretty much local, or do you get to travel with that?
Oh no, we've clients. We've traveled. You get Midwestern pricing, and if you're in New York, that pricing looks pretty goddamn good. When all you got to do is pay for the plane ride for us to come over there. We've had New York clients travel down to Texas, Illinois, Alabama, Tennessee, all that good stuff.
Dang! Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of
And the quality's there is what I'm seeing is like you guys have just as good a quality as anything on the coast that people are going to find, but at that, like you said, Midwest pricing, and that's becomes a very attractive, value proposition to them.
Yeah, we try our very, and that's the beauty of like doing 48-hour films is they give you that experience of being able to make a product that looks as good as it does on a short time frame, because a lot of these, it's with the whole .com bubble happening in the early 2000s. Everything started to get faster and faster and faster every year. Every year after year, it just gets faster, but we expect the same quality. So that's what we really try to keep up with is like doing something that looks crispy.
Absolutely.
But being able to do that in a very short time frame.
And that's something that I love the 48 hour for, like you mentioned, is that what I equate it to is like weightlifting. I know you do a lot of that as well. So like you train, right? And that's going to be like the ads, the stuff you're paid for, all the narrative work you do. But then a 48-hour challenge is what I think of as like a max day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you come onto that and it's like,
give it your all.
How much can we do with this small amount of time? You know, and it is very much like, where are we at as far as skill level? Because you only have 1 weekend to make this thing look and tell a story as wonderfully as you can. And that equates to me exactly like how a max day would work.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much I relate to that. I go to a fitness class, and we just had our PR night, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was off the couch, straight up off the couch. Like I hadn't done any sort of heavy lifting in like 8 months, man.
Dang, man.
Like just not. But I previously did strongman training.
Sure.
Like we're talking, log press and Atlas stone style stuff. So I get off the couch and I'm like, I'm gonna shit this bed. I'm gonna shit it so hard. And I pull out like a 405 squat out of my ass from nowhere. And
I saw that on social media. I was like, this boy's strong.
But the
Holy
thing is,
crap.
I was on a shoot before I came to the class, and I came to the class to support my wife, who also takes the class, who is also maxing. And I got there on the last one because it was deadlift, bench, and squat.
Okay.
And they save squat for last because no one wants to do legs. And you know that.
Leg day. You got Derek Smith behind the camera just drinking a beer, but he's skipping leg day today.
He walked funny inside because he had leg day yesterday. No, but yeah, I just came in there to cheer on my wife, and then was like, I'm in jeans and a button up, but I'm gonna throw up a squat, see what I can do. And I still ended up being pissed off at myself because my total for the 3 was 975, 25 pounds away from 1,000. I am not in the 1,000-pound club anymore, and it infuriates me. So it's good motivation.
Gotta get back in there.
Gotta get back in there, man.
That's something I've always wanted to do as like a video series, is like filmmaker fitness. Like, how do you gain the strength and endurance required to be a DP on set all day?
Yeah.
Carrying a 15-pound rig. I think that'd be kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah, everybody's told me my best feature is either my calves or my shoulders, and I'm like, that's filmmaking, baby.
Yeah. That's rocking the rig all day.
I've been lugging C-stands since I was 12 years old, boy. Oh, but speaking of the 48-hour film festival,
right.
Congrats to y'all for making a really kick-ass movie with Slap Bump Shoot.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I loved watching that at the Varsity Cinema, and literally when the film ended, me and Anna turned to each other and were like, well, they're gonna go to Best of City. They're probably gonna win Audience Choice, and sure enough, y'all fucking won Audience Choice. It was just, you guys were such the obvious choice. You guys kick ass when you make movies together.
Thank you, appreciate it. We got the Horror 48 coming up this weekend, and if you're watching this, maybe it's out already, but yeah, we're hoping to bring our best again. We have a great crew coming on. But
repeat, baby.
That's right.
Audience Choice, Best of City.
Here we go. But yeah, your 48 Murder, She Spoke. Amazing film. We just screened it on our Mediaverse movie night.
Yeah, that was
it.
Who was there watching that with you? That was
we had Damien and Brittany. I'm sorry, no, we had Becky and Jeremy.
Oh yeah, Patrick Boberg from Tiny Explosions.
Bobert was there, yeah.
Yes. First of all, Patrick, shout out to you. I love everything you do. Tiny Explosions kicks ass.
We love you, Patrick.
And second of all, thank you so much for watching that film. It's so interesting because when you're in a theater, you can get like this group reaction, but you can never get the like, what did you like about it? What did you really think about it?
Yeah, exactly.
So seeing people actually talk about it outside of the people who made it is such a unique feeling. It's a special feeling. And I was like, hearing anything you guys had to say about the movie was like, I got my notebook out. I was like, okay, what can I do? Okay, what are they saying? Okay, cool. Oh, they like that? Okay.
That's something I think that we could all benefit from, is some sort of like feedback system where we could watch each other's films and sort of give feedback to each other. I think that would be really kind of fun to do, and it's something we should set up somehow, because that's...
Oh, absolutely. I think you guys are already doing that with Mediaverse and having these movie nights and screening local films, because that's like, I mean, people do that, but oftentimes it's in a format that's really not digestible for a wide audience. And then you guys come in here and you're like, oh no, we're local filmmakers. We're talking about local filmmakers. We know what we're talking about too. You can go watch our movies and figure that out. You guys do. You guys are gonna undersell yourself. You guys kick ass. But like having that in a local community is so valuable.
Yeah.
Being able to have legit, legit filmmakers talking about your process and how you guys did things. It's just so cool.
Yeah, because all we really get is like sometimes film festivals. There's local film festivals that we can go to and like do like an audience Q&A once in a while. But even that's not really like feedback in the sense of something that we can grow from. It's mostly just like telling the audience, here's what we did, here's how we did it.
And I respect the process so much.
Right.
Of what a judge does in the 48-hour film, because they got to watch a lot of movies, and I'm not naming names of anyone. Some of them are a little bit harder to watch. They just are, because it's a newer team and something went wrong. It's 48 hours. Everything could go wrong. So they already have a hard job. I really, really wish they would release like notes on your film. Yeah. Why A, why B, why it didn't, why it didn't move forward. Like that would be so beneficial, so or at critical the very least, to somebody learning, I think.
At the very least, like a rubric. Like here's what we graded on, and here's where you scored on those guidelines.
Yeah, and I don't even need numbers to it. I just need a sentence of like, we really enjoyed your film. The sound was fuzzy and was slightly distracting, so we didn't move you forward due to a technical aspect. Or storytelling wise, we had a very concrete first half, but you lost us in the second, kind of deal.
I would love that.
Give me a sentence.
The only time I have seen that is at CRIF, the Cedar Rapids Film Festival. They did it this year, where you were able to get like a 15-minute session with the judges specifically, and they would talk about your film, even if you didn't get in. So like I submitted a documentary to them. It didn't get into the festival, but they said, hey, you are able to schedule a time with the judges to talk about your film, why it didn't get in, why, it didn't quite meet their criteria. And that was so valuable. I really appreciated that festival just for that reason alone.
Yeah, no, that feedback is so crucial, I think, as budding filmmakers, especially if you haven't been doing this for that long. It's worth its weight in gold. And even for people who've been doing this I started making movies when I was 10, so I say I've been doing this for 17 years.
Right, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, it is, it's still critical, because you can make a really nice movie, but there's still be things, there's always room for improvement. It doesn't matter if you're, Chris Nolan, or if you're, John Waters. It doesn't matter who you are as a filmmaker. Right. There's always room to do better or to do something different.
And that's all we want to do is grow, right? We want to get better. We want to tell better stories, because that's the focus of this whole thing. That's our motivation behind this. It's not really to get awards or to be recognized necessarily, but it's to grow and just tell better stories. That's our whole.
Oh yeah, man. And when it comes to filmmaking specifically, I think that medium especially needs that feedback. Right. Because I've said that, I think I said this on set of the film we worked together on, Suffer in Silence. I don't know if I could
Suffer in Silence.
I could say that? Okay, cool. Yeah, Suffer in Silence.
Can we say that? Yeah. Okay, we're working on Suffer in Silence together.
Yeah, I did sound for you guys for I think most of the shoot. I think you guys had a day or two where I wasn't there, but I think on that set I was talking about why I love filmmaking so much. It is the amalgamation of all mediums of art into one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you talk about writing. Obviously, you got to write the script. You talk. What about modeling, like clay sculpting? I'm like, oh yeah, they had to do that for Lord of the Rings to create like the cave troll models and stuff. Interpretive dance, choreography. Yeah, you got to choreograph things. Right. Musicals exist. What are you talking about? Like every single medium of art you can think of has been used to make a film at some point.
Absolutely.
It's so beautiful.
I absolutely love that sort of cross-discipline nature of it. It's because it's like, what can paintings teach you about cinematography? What can architecture teach you about composition? What can dance teach you about pacing? It's that kind of like cross-discipline nature that can really help you grow if you just sort of like branch out to different mediums, and that's filmmaking like to a T. That's everything we're doing.
Man, I'm so happy I'm here talking about this stuff, man.
Yeah,
it's
me
just
too,
like,
man.
it's just so fun to be able to speak this language,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when did you get started in filmmaking? You said you were a kid when you started. You've been in for 17 years. So what got you started in this?
Oh, this is a story.
Let's
I
do it.
love telling this story too. So we just worked on a Star Wars film.
Absolutely.
And oddly enough, it was Star Wars that got me into filmmaking because some random day in May of 2005.
The month? Wow, that's cool.
I think I know the day. I think it was May 10th.
It wasn't May the 4th?
No, I think
You got to change the story. This is May the 4th.
I can't remember. I just know it was May.
Okay.
And it might have been the 10th or like the 25th. I don't remember exactly.
You got to modify this story.
I do. And I'm in the middle of a school, and I get a call, and I get a word from the teacher that the office just called. My mom's here to pick me up for a dentist appointment.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, it's a shitty turn to my day. I didn't know I was having one of those.
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay. I walk down to the office. There's my mom. She takes me out of school. We're walking to our car, and she says, okay, so you're not going to the dentist. And I'm like, we're going to go see Star Wars Episode 3.
Your
I'm
mom's
like,
cool.
What? And she's like, yeah, I didn't want to take you when it was all crowded in the evening when, all the fanboys were going to see us. She took me to like a matinee screening of Star Wars Episode 3. And it's Episode 3. It's the best of the prequels. I mean, that's not really a debate, I think, personally.
Yeah.
But except for Filoni, I think he likes number 1, Phantom Menace best.
Okay.
Which you're doing good with Ahsoka, so
Peace.
I'll give him that leeway. But obviously fell in love with the movie, so when it came out on DVD, immediately got that shit.
Yeah.
I was like an iPad child before the iPad because I had a portable DVD player.
Right.
I would take it everywhere. It had a little battery and everything. I played the Episode 3 disc so much that it just shat out. It's just like scratched and like all that stuff. I banged it around. It just didn't work. But we had bought the 2-disc special edition of Episode 3, and I was like, oh, the second disc must just be a backup copy. Okay, I'll just put that in there, and there's probably another copy of the film on there.
Okay. No, that's
So
special.
it turns out Episode 3 has one of the most in-depth behind-the-scenes of any film out there.
Really?
Because there's literally a documentary, I think they called them like webisodes because they would release them online, of every single department behind the scenes.
Wow.
From craft services to prop masters to the camera department to DIT to visual effects to stuff. Like, it went through everything.
That's amazing.
And I was like, what's this? And I started watching, and you kind of get the glimpse behind the curtain of how all this came together. And I watched through the entirety. I think it was like 4 hours of this behind the scenes stuff. And as a 10-year-old, I closed the thing and said, well, I guess that's what I want to do with my life.
Right.
I want to make movies. Because I was a big movie kid growing up.
Right.
I just didn't understand how they were made. And then once I got a taste of that, oh, dude, I was hooked. I'm in. 100%. Wow. Give it to me. So from then on, started, I edited. It's so crazy. I feel like I'm too young to say this, but I started editing on VHS tapes. I had 2 VCR players.
No kidding.
And I had a blank tape in the bottom one.
And you record.
And I had the footage in the top one. And I got so good with timing the record, I recognized there was a 6-frame delay from pressing record to when it started recording.
Oh my God.
So I was
You
literally
nerd.
doing deck-to-deck editing at 12 years old. Are you kidding me? Come on. That was some shit that the kids in the 80s did. And then finally my dad, I think he got the family DV camcorder,
right.
Passed it on to me. And then for Christmas, I got like a base level MacBook, not the Pro, but like old white MacBooks that had iMovie. And so I was able to finally upload my footage and like edit digitally. And it was a whole new world, baby.
Wow.
Whole new world. Linear digital editing, man.
I remember Windows Movie Maker doing the
remember
same thing.
Blue screen, white text.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's go.
Dude.
What's that? I remember YouTube back. I think my first video was uploaded in 2008.
Okay, that's when I graduated high school.
Gee, how fucking old are you?
I'm old.
You don't look it.
Capital O, old.
Capital O and old, yeah. Derek.
Derek's back there giving me the finger.
Derek's other
He's
old
pushing
ass
40.
over there.
We love you, Derek.
Yeah, love you, man. You have a better beard than me. Just know that.
That's true. I shaved this thing for Star Wars. I'm still not happy about it.
He's coming back. He's coming back with a vengeance too. You got that.
That's why I'm so tired. I'm putting all of my energy into growing it back. I just did not feel right afterwards.
I know. You get the fresh air hitting your cheeks. What? Ew. Yeah. So basically, Star Wars was the answer. That was a long-winded way of saying Star Wars got me into filmmaking.
I absolutely love that, man. It's just kind of been that way ever since, huh?
Yep. Haven't lost the passion. It's only grown, and it is. Yeah, man.
Did you go to film school?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Explain.
I'll break this into two parts. When I was younger, I went to Vermont in the summers for a school called SOCAPA, the School of Cinema and Performing Arts. My parents were like, "You're really invested in this, so we're going to support you." My mom and dad have always been my biggest fans and supporters. They were like, "Yeah, do what you're going to do, and make sure you do it good." I'm like, "Yes." So I went to School of Cinema and Performing Arts, did acting and directing, where it's literally just 2 or 3 week courses in the summers.
Okay.
So it was like a camp, really, for filmmaking, which was totally valuable because it taught me more than my college education at University of Iowa did. So,
What'd you study at Iowa?
In cinema. I have a bachelor's in cinema and theater.
No kidding.
Minor in communications, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so double major with a minor, and I had to do the other ones because Iowa's cinema program, first of all, Iowa has one of the best writing programs in the world.
I've heard.
Yeah, so I was thinking, oh, okay, so they've really got to invest in their arts. They might have gone overboard because they taught me why I make movies as opposed to how.
Okay.
They are not a production-based education. Like, you're not going to go in there and work with red cameras and like learn industry standard stuff. You're going to learn the art behind it. Yeah, it's composition wise. This is the subtext of the film, and like I'm like, oh, okay. I took a lot of value out of that.
Sure.
It's just 4 years of that feels like a lot.
I would imagine so. I think that's maybe a class or two of just like the intellectual theory behind
and
all of this.
I would do a single class every semester.
Sure.
Like, I would totally be down to be like a theory class every semester, as long as I was taking like production-based classes.
Right.
But when I did take those production-based classes, the first one was called like Modes of Filmmaking and Video Production or something. And they literally gave us like handy cams with a dinky ass like $10 tripod.
So they didn't put any budget behind this.
There's no budget behind the technical aspect of what they were trying to do for us, and you know what? I think that's perfect for people who are just starting out.
Yeah.
And maybe I have a little jaded view of this, but if you are just starting out in college, feels like you should be able to choose. If you're starting out in college, it feels, but if you're experienced, I feel like you should be able to like, hey, can I give you an example of my work to get into the higher level production classes? Because I spent the first 2 years doing like, this is what the rule of thirds is. And I'm like,
right.
But I knew that from the YouTube videos I've been watching since, 2008.
Right.
So yeah, it was very much, I did, oh God. And even when it was a cool class, like I took a 16 millimeter film class.
Cool.
We shot on actual 16 millimeter Bolex cameras and everything.
Wow.
Unfortunately, that department really was, how do I put this delicately?
Don't put it delicately.
Avant-garde, as they say. It was very experimental film. And I was like, oh, is that just the students? No, it was the instructors too. Like, I think I almost got kicked out of class one time. I think like the class, not just a singular class, like the whole class is because we were shown a film, and it was in some impoverished nation, like very poor nation, and could have had a chance to talk about people's stories. This guy took his 60 millimeter film camera and he shot the fucking mud that people were walking on in a marketplace.
Okay.
It was 12 minutes long. Nothing but random shots of people walking in mud. and not like full body, just their feet close up of
Right.
the mud. And at the end of it, teacher asks, "What do we think of this film?" And I literally raised my hand, did not wait for him to call me. He said, "This movie pissed me off." and then one, I can't remember her name, some girl in the class, like, "I actually like it." And I said, "No, you do not." She's like, "You don't get to say that." I'm like, no, I do get to say that, because guess what? The people in that, the people's feet that were in that movie, they have very important stories to tell, and they had the opportunity to tell it to a filmmaker. I think sometimes there is a responsibility as filmmakers, as artists, to be able to tell important stories that don't pertain to you.
Yeah.
Like I haven't experienced that, but if I could tell that story and let people know that story, maybe it could help them in some way,
Right.
get the word out. And I told that to the class, and then I just straight up fucking walked out because I was so mad. I was like, I am gonna rage. I am gonna.
Oh man, and that's my thing with like this. What you said, like
Sorry,
the
Professor
avant-garde
Harris. I
kind of.
apologize.
Well, listen, that's my thing with like this kind of avant-garde, kind of highfalutin experimental film. You know, very French, very European, very whatever. Is it creates a barrier to entry to these people's stories, right? And for most audiences, if you can remove that, if you can just tell their story, you know, then you're going to make it so much more accessible for very important stories, like you said.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I got a B on my final project.
All right.
For 16 millimeter, and I was the only one who did a narrative based story. Like I just literally wanted to do. We had 16 millimeter Kodak Tri-X reversal black and white. And so I was like, ooh, black and white 16 millimeter, 4x3.
You went noir.
No, I went silent film.
Oh,
I did an old Western shootout in the style of a silent film.
How fun.
And not only that, we had the option to develop it ourselves, like not send it to Kodak, but we
that's
had
cool.
the chemicals. And I was like, I'm going to fucking develop myself, and I'm going to do something called bucket processing, which is where you don't take this thing called a Lomo tank that like spools it and makes it nice and neat for you to develop it in.
Dump all the film in a bucket, didn't you?
Straight up, dark room, flip the lights off, you have all your shit prepared. I just shoved all of the film, I like scratched it, I folded it, like just to give it that old-timey,
Right. Gets those creases in the film and gets the like
scratches, the good. And I
Gives
developed it and then fixed it to make it final. And it came out, and I was like, oh wait, it's reversal. So it literally came out like with all the light reversed, so the shadows were white, the light was black. So then I scanned it in digitally, frame by frame, 1080p HD, baby. And then we flipped it, and then luckily I was able to do this process where you basically reference frame by frame. And then I was able to make the cuts digitally, and then translate that, and then splice together the negative.
Okay.
At the same editing points.
Right.
One of the coolest experiences of my life.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I just don't understand the deeper message. And I'm like, it's a fucking Old West shootout. There's no message. I was trying to make something that looked good and that was fun to make, you know?
Right.
Like, God.
Hey, you got a B.
The Ballad of Obadiah Green was the name of it, too. It was named after my friend Grady's actual
Sure.
ancestor that came to Iowa I can't remember, but Obadiah Green.
So how long has Grady been with you? Sounds like he's been there for a minute.
Everybody thinks he's my brother because his last name is Stine, but it's spelled differently.
Okay.
And then everybody thinks Danny's my brother because he looks like me.
I thought he was your brother. I still think he's your brother.
I think we were separated at birth.
I think you got to do a DNA test.
Yeah. No, but sorry, what was the question? Totally forgot.
I forgot.
How long have you been working with Grady?
How long have you worked with Grady?
Oh, fuck, I love it. So me and Grady met in high school. Or no, high school, middle school. I think early high school. And man, we had a tight knit group ever since. Me, Danny, and Grady. I knew Danny since elementary school.
Okay.
Grady at high school, and we just were the fucking boys, man.
That's cool.
We still have a brick at Valley High School that we've all painted our names on. That's still there.
Nice.
And apparently, me, Ryan Vogesser, Grady Stine, Danny Williams were referred to as the Four Princes for a while by the classmen that were under us.
All right.
And I was like, that's. I don't mean to toot my own horn. That's pretty fucking cool, man.
Adorable.
Yeah, it all helps that we all had little brothers that came after us too.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, been working with Grady. He is the world's best improver. I wholeheartedly believe that.
I wanted to say something about that because, like, Danny and Grady in that scene in Murder She Spoke, their improv scene where they're just talking about the vape and going pro and just all.
Bro,
That's
they are lethal.
when I learned that was all improv. I was like, holy shit, these guys are good. Like, that was so funny. That was like the high point of the film for me.
Dude, I literally had to wirelessly transmit the two shot of them to a monitor and then walk out of the room because otherwise I would fucking ruin those takes, man. I would laugh my ass off and then you just in the back. It was so bad. So I said, here, we're putting lobs on you guys and I'm going to call action from outside. And you guys go, and we'll just watch it. I'm not going to have the sound on. I had a little IEM pack, though, that I could listen to, so no one else could hear it. They could just see it on the screen. And oh, my God, man.
I remember that take in Star Wars where, like, Connor had me, like, yelling something, and I, like, yelled it, and Connor's just back in the back, and I just busted out laughing. I'm like, Connor, you got to get the hell out of here, man, because I'm trying to do this.
I gotta respect the actors, man. Gotta respect that talent. It's way harder than it looks,
just
man.
Busting out. Speaking of segues, tell me about all of your audio experience.
Oh, how smooth of you, my friend. How smooth. Audio. So growing up in the Midwest, especially in Iowa, learning how to be a filmmaker was hard because it's not like you could go to the next door to the local boom op to help you out. Like, you had to learn how to do everything just to do it. And growing up, I focused a lot on cameras. I focused a lot on editing, VFX, even like special effects makeup. I did that for a while. Very ADHD of me to just like hyperfixate on each aspect of filmmaking.
Sure. Yep.
The last rope for me really was audio. I had done like my first. Oh God, it hurts to watch my first 48 hour because I knew nothing about audio. Like just a basic mic that was on a camera pointed at whatever was happening, regardless of how far away it was. Like, oh God, it hurts my soul to look at. So
audio is like the least sexy, but also most critical part of filmmaking, I think.
Dude, I thought the same damn thing, and then I, like 2 years ago, decided, screw it, I'm gonna go deep dive on it and just like see what I can do to make everything better, because it was the one thing lacking.
Right.
And a lot of my projects was just good audio, and it was ruining them. So deep dived, and it actually, it's pretty sexy every now and then, man.
Oh, really?
It is. It really is. I mean, I'm a total gearhead too, so I was like, being able to learn, like, I knew all about cameras. I want a red, I want an Ari or whatever.
Right.
Like, it's Ari, by the way. Fucking people who say Ari, god damn it.
It's Ari.
It's Ari. Do you see an I before that R there? No. Anyways, so I started deep diving in the equipment. It's like a whole new world for me, learning about all the different brands, what does what, and what frequency responses are. I had no idea what that was. Going into wireless too, that was another big one. I was like, how did they get audio on that super wide shot if they can't boom it? Well, turns out, you come mid 2000s and 2010, they really started to shift to putting wireless packs on every actor.
Sure.
Just as redundancy. Yeah, man, I just looked into it, and then for 2 years deep dived on it, and here I am now. I usually only would spend a few months on something, and it just sucked me in, and I've stayed there ever since. It's such a cool aspect of filmmaking, but I figure if I can combine my pretty in-depth knowledge of camera work and videography with good audio, you're a threat. You're dangerous. You're lethal.
Absolutely. But audio is it's such a different realm because it's you can't see it and get feedback of like, I don't know, this looks good, or this is, visually appealing. This audiologically appealing is not really a thing while you're monitoring. It's like, this sounds like it should. It sounds like, I'm in the room listening to them. But there is so much that goes into that. There's so much that goes into that engineering wise that is very thankless and very like unknown by most people, I think. And it's just a really difficult thing to grasp.
Yeah, and you know what? I totally understand that. It's not a, there's no immediate kind of, how to say, there's no immediate appeal like there is
Yep.
with a camera, being
Like,
able to see this beautiful image on your monitor.
yeah. Like you don't notice when it's right, but you know exactly when it's wrong.
Yeah, and then audio wise, I thought that that was not going to be the case. I was so dead wrong based
Hmm.
on like being able to gather good audio. Like you wouldn't like good audio is good audio,
Yep.
but I personally think it's harder to get good audio than it is to get a good image.
I absolutely agree with you.
Like so. For instance, like I thought, oh, you just put a lav mic on a person, and it'll sound great.
Yep.
But then in like narrative work, you can't obviously have a little mic sticking out of a
Right.
shirt. So then you got to see how, you can mount this microphone to somebody that's not you can't see it on them,
Hmm.
but where it just sounds just as good. But then you have other things to worry about like clothing rustle. You have to worry about, oh, are they going to be able to see the transmitter pack on these guys?
Right.
Is the placement going to be good? Can I put it on their chest? Because you generally want to put lavs right in the middle of their chest. That's where you get that beautiful That's where you get that beautiful resonance when you don't bump the microphone.
You got the audio guy bump on the microphone.
I
over
know,
here.
just
Jeez,
it's
man.
just the cardinal sin, but yeah, and then talking about like different microphones and the frequency responses I was talking about, like
I'm sure you can probably notice, like I'm speaking on one microphone, he's speaking on his shameless plug microphone, but you can tell very clearly which one sounds better just in the recording that we're doing right now. It's going to be that one because that one has a way better pickup on it.
I just think I have a better voice than you, just like
Oh, wow. All right, we're going to have a voice off.
no, I'm kidding, man. No, but you want to know a funny story about this microphone? I got this microphone straight up like 10 years ago.
Right.
And the only reason I got it, I was like 17 and I was watching YouTube, and one of my friends, Danny, was really into like PewDiePie's Amnesia
Right.
playthroughs. This is the microphone he used. I was like, oh, that looks like a really cool microphone.
Okay.
And so I got it, and turns out it's a great sounding XLR condenser.
Absolutely.
And it's got this rich tone to it that I actually really ended up enjoying. I don't use it nearly as much as I should, but I can't let it go. I can't ever get rid of this thing just because it's so like sentimental, but also it still does a good job.
Right. But not to get like too nerdy on this podcast, but like what makes that so much of a richer tone than this one?
So there's a lot of things that go into what makes a good microphone. Like I said, different capsules and different polar patterns have a different tone to them. So like a condenser mic like this cardioid microphone, it does pretty directional, but it's only directional up to a certain point in front of it, and so some mics are made for this up close. You bring it nice and close, and it's like you whisper into it. You do voiceover work into something
ASMR
like this.
of you.
And then there's microphones like, there's a legendary boom mic out there called the Sennheiser MKH416. It's been a microphone since the 80s that's been used in TV and film, but it's a boom mic. It's super directional. So getting the right polar pattern is important for whatever environment you're shooting in.
Okay.
So that what that thing does is it takes super directional. You just, you point it at it, and even if you're about 3 feet away, you're still going to be able to get usable good audio because you're not going to get anything surrounding it. That's
Right.
the whole concept of polar patterns. Your hypercardioids, your supercardioids, your cardioids, low bar, like low bar patterns are what most boom mics are. Omnidirectionals, like lav mics, most good lav mics are all omnidirectional because
Sure.
it doesn't matter if your head's pointed over here, it's still going to pick up on the mic.
That also means it picks up everything else around it too.
Yep, and some mics add flavor in terms of what the EQ of it. Certain frequencies have a better response. Like the Sennheiser I just talked about, it has a super rich bass that you can be far away from those lower frequencies, and like the higher hundreds through like 900 and 1,000 hertz, really great. And still have retaining those higher end stuff like 5,000 hertz and whatnot like that is so crisp on that microphone. And then you have others that just don't have a good of a capsule. They might not have like a RF protection, so you'll get like radio frequencies that'll create hissing noises if it's not properly shielded,
Right.
like that sort of deal. So what makes a good microphone is good build quality, good RF resistance, good capsule construction, and that frequency response. Man, there are some really, really cool microphones out there, and they are expensive as all shit because they
Right.
put so much work into their circuitry and the capsules that are on them, so you can get a very natural sounding microphone with good rejection on the sides or whatever you need to use it for. There's no one mic does it all situation.
Absolutely.
Like with the shotgun mics, those classic long ones that you see that everybody thinks about when you think boom mics. Don't use those inside, because they have a thing called an interference tube. Those little slits on the side all the way down, and you can get something called this warble that happens called phasing, where if you're a little off axis, the reverb from a wall will come through and it'll garble your voice a little bit.
Aha.
So they'll switch over to a small diaphragm condenser microphone, so there's the MKH 416 has that long interference tube.
Right.
There's also a god tier mic called the MKH 50, which is just a little supercardioid capsule on the end. There's no interference tube really, and that has great rich tones, but you can use it inside without getting that warble. So there's no one mic does it all.
Right.
Collect your mics. You can never have too many microphones. I know that's crazy to say. You never have too many microphones. Use the right mic for the right situation. Mic placement is king. So if you have a shitty microphone, totally fine. If you get it right up here, you're still going to have good sound.
Right. It's also a very expensive thing to say because, like, man, audio gear is by far, like, dollar to weight value, it's the most,
I keep referencing the filmmaker tax is so real. I didn't realize how goddamn expensive XLR cables could be.
Oh yeah.
Like Mogami gold cables are like the standard, everybody uses them, and it's like, oh, you want a 3-foot cable, give us $65.
Right.
What, 3 feet of cabling for a little plug? Like,
Right. Well, it's the same thing with cameras, with lights, with anything in the filmmaking industry. As the engineering progresses, you get this sort of like rate of return that diminishes, this diminishing
an
return.
exponential amount of diminishing.
Right. But it gets
returns.
so much more expensive to get past that like 95% level, where like as a Hollyland or a Rode mic may get you 90% of the way there, but the things you're rocking are getting up to like 99-100% level, but they are exponentially more expensive.
Yeah.
And
I really want that. I rock a 416 a lot of the times, that shotgun microphone. That's like I think you can buy a used one for like $700 nowadays. But the industry standard that you see a lot of people using are either DPA shotguns or a company called Sheps. Sheps has been like the king for a long time. They have this super nice microphone that's super like you recognize it because it's blue. It's called a CMIT, a Sheps CMIT.
Okay.
And they're just the most beautifully constructed, phenomenal microphones you can get. $2,000 for one.
Damn.
Yeah, like just absolutely cripples your wallet.
Right.
So that exponent, and the reason for that being is it's just extremely well made, and you have. I wholeheartedly believe you can make a Sheps CMIT sound like any other microphone on the market. It's such a great flat response with good, rich, warm tones, super clear. But again, is that really worth the extra $1,300 from the 416 that gets an almost as good sound from it? Like,
if you're using it exactly as designed and in the right post-processing with the right workflow, sure.
and if you have enough of that work coming through that you can justify the price point with a few jobs that you could do. 416 easy. My indoor microphone is still an Audio-Technica. It's like a 4053B model or whatever.
Workhorse.
It's still a workhorse. Great mic. I desperately want that MKH 50.
Sure.
It's a $1,200 microphone.
Yeah.
And sound is the sound industry is at an oddly slow pace now for everybody, not just me.
Okay.
Can't justify it. Just cannot. I can maybe borrow one or rent one, but I just cannot justify that price, especially living out in the Midwest where everything's cheaper. It's not the microphone isn't cheaper. It's from Germany. Germans don't give a shit.
Right, they just engineer really well to tight tolerances.
The American economy isn't the shit. Who cares? We'll still sell it. $1,200, please.
Right.
Goddamn Germans.
Well, I think that's a good philosophy to have towards any sort of gear acquisition. Is does it serve the story you're trying to tell, and do you have a workflow that supports it?
Yeah, cry once, use it all the time. that's the goal with every piece of equipment I ever get. I know half the shit I get is gonna save my back, or it's gonna save time in the edit, or it's gonna save something and make the workflow better. Otherwise, why get it?
Well, and you also have, we talked about this offline, it was just like this DIY mindset, because you buy a lot of this gear sort of refurbished, and you also go in and you do a lot of modulation to it yourself, where
Modification.
Thank you. Okay, so you buy a lot of this gear refurbished, and
I'm so sorry I just did that. I don't need to
no,
be
thank you.
Grammar police here. Okay.
Start over. Okay, so you buy a lot of this gear kind of like secondhand or refurbished, and you do a lot of like modification yourself. So you're getting in there and you're soldering, you're putting different connectors in that serve your workflow, and not necessarily as they're designed. So you're definitely like voiding the warranty, but you're also making it much more useful to you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna buy, like, my whole philosophy on doing that is, I mean, if you're already buying something that needs repair and it's out of warranty, it's already voided. Warranty's already voided.
Right.
Most you have to lose is learning. Like you're gonna learn why something didn't work as opposed to why it does work. And so I learned that with. I didn't have $500 to spend on each lavalier microphone I got. I did have $500 to spend on 5 lavalier microphones that did not have connectors, that were unterminated. And so I got those, and they didn't come with any connectors. Some of them didn't have the little frequency response caps on top of them, but those are very small investments. I bought a 10-pack of those connectors for like $30.
Right.
And then learned the wiring diagrams on them, and I soldered my own connections on them.
There you go.
And it's exactly what the manufacturer would do if you asked them to do that connector. So why not learn how to do it yourself if it is within your reach? All you got to learn is to do a little bit of soldering and a little bit of just to be creative. So yeah, like the instance I think we're referencing, as I was talking about, I bought 5 DPA microphones,
right,
which are pretty much the industry standard lavalier mics. Every sound mixer I know uses them because they have such a good quality to them. I bought 5 4061s, and they didn't have connectors, and I connected them, got their own little frequency caps. They're all beige, but you can find deals on broken equipment. Those Sennheiser transmitters that
the
I
lav
have,
packs you have, right?
Yeah, the little lav packs. I don't use them as lav packs. They're great for IEMs, monitors for your deal. I used a couple of them when I was still first learning how to use them on Suffer in Silence, but they're great for that. But you can I think I found 2 of them. They're generally like $350 a pop for a G3 or a G4 system. Right. This guy was selling his because he's like, buttons don't work anymore, $100, I'll give it to you. And I'm like, oh, I will fucking take that, sir. Because they're just these little, you just got to open up the circuit boards and replace these tactile switches on them.
Which are what, 30 cents for a 10-pack or something like that?
I think I got 2 of them for $5.
Yeah.
And I think I bought a bigger pack later because I knew I would be buying more. And just as redundancy in case they do crap out, because it crapped out on that guy. Right. Why wouldn't they crap out on me? Replace those. I don't like the dinky ass antennas on them, so I learned how to put SMA connectors on them so I could attach them to real antennas, directional, omnidirectional, antennas, butterfly, like whatever I need it to. I can now do that just because I took the time to dedicate myself to this DIY nature of filmmaking. Right.
That's the thing I've learned is especially with circuit boards on anything, not just audio equipment, but anything. It's the individual components are super cheap, but the design and the assembly of them is where you get your price from.
All about form factor, man.
Right.
You're paying so much for form factor.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, even so, like I have legitimate Sennheiser IEM packs, the ones that actually receive it. You put your headphones into it, you could hear the mix that's coming to it, whether you're a director or I have a separate channel for my boom operator now that I have a wireless boom set up.
Right.
So I can send out just his channel out to him so he can actually hear what he's booming, but there's no wires involved. So
Okay. That's cool.
But I have legitimate IEM packs, but then I have there's like if you go on like AliExpress, there's just straight up fell off a truck versions of these things. Like
Right.
that's like, oh yeah, you probably manufactured these. They were labeled as B stock, but then never put into production because they weren't good enough. So you just took those and you painted your own logo on it, and are now selling it for a quarter of the price.
Absolutely.
They have those on AliExpress, and I bought these little receivers. Like, again, generally a Sennheiser IEM pack is going to cost you like $300-$400 a pop.
Yep.
For that same price, I got 5 of them.
Nice.
But they were just they're like some Chinese company who was like, oh, we'll take your shitty stock and then, cut costs everywhere. So, yeah, but they work. They have the same compander on them, so they're totally compatible with one of my transmitters. So fucking use those. It sounds great. There's stereo, so you can still send out your stereo IEM. It's just I love finding loopholes to the game, baby.
Right.
I love it. When you're like, I can't afford that, I'm like, yes, you can, and I'll tell you how.
Yeah. Because so much of it is branding.
A lot of it's brand name. You're
if you can
paying for
just
a brand
find
name.
something that's...
I should know. I'm in marketing.
And it's the same with the pharmaceutical industry. You find someone who's made by the exact same manufacturer, just branded a little bit differently, you're going to save a buttload of money.
Yeah, if you have anti-anxiety medication, just ask for the dog's version of it, because
Right.
vets are going to sell that for, again, a quarter of the price.
Right.
You want Xanax? Talk to your vet.
Man.
I don't know if I can endorse that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's not medical
Don't talk
advice.
to your vet for your medical
Also, we're not
issues. Go to a
sponsored by any
doctor.
of the things we've talked about today. So just a
Not sponsored, just love the products, guys.
general disclaimer. We have no sponsors yet.
Yeah, I really wish Deity would sponsor me. I love Deity microphones so goddamn much because they're taking what I'm saying. They're like doing like, oh yeah, everything is, the individual components are super cheap, but then the form factor that push the price up. Deity priced is a thing because they are so low priced for what they offer.
Yep.
We were just talking about on the Star Wars set about their new wireless system coming out, and it has the feature set of like straight up, like there's audio limited releases, their stuff, and a transmitter is like $2,500.
Jeez.
A single transmitter, and then you have to buy the receiver, which is like $3,000, and you have to buy another transmitter because it's a dual channel receiver, so you can get 2 mics onto one receiver.
Sure.
So then you've got $5,000 in transmitters mixed with a $3,000 receiver. I think it's even more for some of them.
Right.
Whereas DD is like, oh yeah, no, we'll release a 2 transmitter, 1 receiver setup that it's full true diversity. Wireless UHF system, wideband, all that good stuff, backup recording onto an SD if you need. We're just going to release all of that, the whole package for $1,000.
Right.
Like, who the hell does that? Fuck yeah, Deity.
like
You're
when-
making it so accessible.
I love it when brands just kind of listen to the industry. To the users, and like, here's what we want, and like, give us this, and then they literally give it to you for a reasonable price. Like, absolutely buy that all the time.
Oh, 100%. And like Andrew Jones, he's the guy who runs the Deity microphones, everything essentially, does their website and all that good stuff. I've just straight up had conversations with him over Facebook because he's so active in the community.
No kidding.
And so understanding of what people want to see in the products. And I don't know if you guys, so Aperture, the guys at Aperture,
Yeah.
they own Deity. It's their thing.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so
Wow.
and that's why I think I love Aperture so much as a lighting company too, is because they're so interactive with the people that use their products, and these are real people. Like so with Andrew Jones, he was a location sound mixer. He knows what he wants out of a product and the price point that he would like it at, and is just translating that to the company. So big big fucking shout out to Deity Microphones. You guys are killing the game. I got fucking S mics. I got, pocket wirelesses, all that good stuff. I can't wait to get your Theo system on my line too, because they got that LEMO transmitter too that they're integrating, where, I mean, literally being able to power your microphone off of like a body pack style transmitter has only been done by somebody like Audio Limited, and I don't want to pay, I don't want to buy a shitty car essentially, but get audio packs. I want to be able to like spend a good chunk of money, but on the whole system, not just one component.
And it's people who are actually in the industry making those decisions with Deity, and not so much like the people in white lab coats saying, here's what we can do and here's what we've put out, saying this is the peak of engineering. Sure.
Yep.
But you're also going to pay $5,000 for that thing. And even if there's no necessarily like demand for it or application for it, but it is, and they can do it, so they're going to charge you for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, I love how in the weeds we're getting here.
I know this is getting real deep.
I know we're getting real technical, but I bet
want to
there's
talk
some
about
people
DaVinci
that are
versus Premiere, but
what do you got? Because you're not going to win the DaVinci versus Premiere argument.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna go there.
You can't. I mean, you got coloring.
We got coloring, but there's also cutting. There's also fusion. There's also sound in Fairlight. I mean, what else? Michael's over there in the back giving his thumbs down.
Oh,
I mean, what do you have to say against DaVinci as an editing program?
So for reference, I grew up editing on Final Cut 7, which was before they went to X or 10 or whatever, which was iMovie Pro. Fucking God, I hate what you can't make such a dramatic shift and just expect people to go with it. You have a product so that linear timeline style of editing your preview, that was so integrated into my process that when they went the Final Cut Pro way, I was just like, oh God.
To non-linear.
Kind of. I mean, it's still linear, but again, it's a different format. It's this weird drag and I didn't fucks with it, is what I'm saying. But Premiere still had the same style layout. And I was like,
sure.
That's great. I want to keep with that. So I went to Premiere and I never looked back. And now that I'm in Premiere, I then was like, well, you guys are going with the whole creative suite here, which has got After Effects. It's got Audition. It's got Photoshop. First of all, nothing's ever going to touch Photoshop.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Photo editing, you're not going to touch that. So to be able to integrate that so well with your linear editing system is why I do it. I use Dynamic Link, all right? I have done straight up Flash animations with Illustrator files within After Effects that you can then export and straight into Premiere for editing stuff. And that works for me, especially in a commercial space where I will have to do graphics animation. It's just, we don't have a dedicated graphics animator on our team yet. So being able to do that and do that in a way where templates work, integration with other apps in the Adobe Suite works, that's the reason I do it. Lumetri, fucking awesome. It's a great color. It's a great color workspace, especially when you're trying to do something fast. Obviously, I'm going to give the edge to DaVinci. They have a lot more tools. The node system is much better for doing not only color correction but full on color grading when you have to create a style to it. But if you're just talking about an overall experience, you're not going to be able to beat Premiere and that experience for me.
I would say end-to-end workflow for video only, I think DaVinci has it beat. Just because you're not having to switch apps, it's all baked right in there in DaVinci. It's just
when are you only doing video?
That's all I do. I don't do photo. I don't do graphics necessarily.
I do all that shit, boy.
I know you do, but you're Chase Stine.
No, don't say it like that. It feels weird.
For the schlubs like me who buy a Blackmagic camera and it comes with a studio version of DaVinci, I'm not gonna pay $60 a month for Premiere when all I'm gonna use is the editing suite and color.
It's $82 a month.
Holy smokes, you are getting highway robbed, my friend.
Okay, first of all, I work for a company that pays for that, so
okay.
It's real nice. Thank you, Nexus. Shout out to you again. Thanks for covering
Can they sponsor us, please?
I swear to God, I'll make the money back for you every month. I promise. 82, I can do that with the level of video we're putting out, man. We are doing the best value for what you get in the Midwest. I know that for damn sure.
What else do you want to talk about while we're here?
I want to talk about local legends, in my opinion. I want to talk about people that we really respect in the Iowa film scene, who we know is gonna, just shout outs that I love talking. It's so funny. You see a lot of filmmakers that love talking about their setup, their gear, their this and that.
Sure.
I love talking about other people's shit because there's some people out there who are making incredible stuff.
Who do you like? Who do you want to work with?
I think I've worked with most of the people I want to work with in Iowa. I was just talking about this. I want to do something with Minard, who was on your podcast last time. I see his stuff around. I see Red Arc Productions, and I'm always just curious. He seems like such a cool cat and talented. He surrounds himself with a bunch of talented people.
Right.
I have been so lucky and privileged to be able to work with a gentleman by the name of Bruce Bales and another gentleman, Andrew Peterson.
Okay.
Those two guys are and this is no disrespect to anybody. Those two are just straight up making the best images out of Iowa. They've dedicated so much love, time, and effort into this craft, and you can see it in every single frame, no matter what they're doing. So when I got the opportunity to do sound on a short film that Andrew Peterson AP wrote and directed, I was just it was like okay, Chase, don't be weird, don't be nerd, don't be you. And then it's so great because we clicked so well. I love talking to those guys because it's you. Not only are you able to talk your language and have them understand it, but they're able to teach you so much just in conversation.
Right.
So working with those guys has been great. Working with you guys was up there on my list of fucking dreams of local Iowa because I was like,
Thanks,
God. Because I remember Century Films from with 48 Hours, and I was like, God, how do they make something that cool in that short of a time? Because you guys would always do action stuff, and I was like, oh, I never have the balls to do action or anything big like that.
I mean, hell, you did Star Wars, man. That was fun.
We did do Star Wars. No, it's funny I say that, but a few of the 48s we really got ambitious. Like my second 48-hour film was fantasy, and we straight up went high fantasy with it.
Cool.
It's called The Vicar or some shit like that.
Nice.
And then like 3 years ago we did we got drama. Like that's such a broad category, and we decided, well, we got to make a World War II movie. Like, who the fuck says that?
For 48?
Yeah, the black and white World War II movie called Found. I think the only reason we did that is because Grady was pretty much fluent in German and could play a convincing Nazi.
Holy smokes.
Not a Nazi. He's the opposite. His last name is Stine. Come on.
Okay.
Stein. Yeah.
All right.
He's not Jewish, though, but still.
Fair.
No, but like of course, we're ambitious, but yeah, working with you guys as a tree, especially Suffer in Silence, was a really cool concept. I finally got to see.
That was a great production.
Yeah, it was also so cool to meet everybody else on the production. Like, getting to work with Nate. I can't remember if that was the first time we worked together or this. I think that was the first time.
Nate Kaiser.
Yeah, because we did a short concept film called Death of a Brewer in Iowa City later. It was Bruce Bales, Andrew Peterson. And he was the grip on that one too. So being able to talk with him, first of all, Michael, shout out to your wife, Brittany. Holy shit, just working with somebody who is so ready and organized is like such a breath of fresh air in the filmmaking industry. Because we're usually just fly by the seat of our pants kind of people. So,
Sure.
Working with you guys was such a treat, and I want to work on a lot of stuff with you. I know, I don't know if I'll ever be as good as Kevin Thorne, but I hope I get good audio like Kevin does too for you guys.
How's Suffer in Silence sounding?
How's it sound?
It's great besides the stuff that we had to do.
He said it's great besides the stuff that we had to do ourselves. Yeah, which is
I'm sorry I couldn't be there for the interrogation scene.
That's right.
Sorry.
When's that coming out? When are we?
Sometime in November.
All right, so Suffer in Silence is going to be out in November, so we're going to be able to see and hear all of the glory that is that film that we're talking about.
Then, right? I mean, I worked on it. You can send me a private link,
Oh, yeah, we can get you, but everyone else.
I won't share it, I promise. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah, I've just, God, there's so many cool people in Iowa with the opportunity to work with them, and then I want to work with all of them, whether it's DPing, whether it's sound. editing. Hell, I'll be on camera. I just did on camera talent for local Vamp. They do 48-hour stuff, and I just did on camera stuff and helped them edit a feature they did with Vagrant Fear Productions, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
I should know. I animated a logo for them. I have too much to do. I think I've sent. You probably have seen a screenshot of what my calendars look like, and it's atrocious.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's bad.
What would you say is like your favorite thing to do on set? You know, if you had to pick your dream job with your dream crew.
Shoot the shit with grips while they smoke. It's probably my favorite thing to do on set. No, oh my gosh, man. Well, I for the first time in ever have actually shared one of my short film scripts because I really, really want to make it. And I really want to make it with the dream team, like be able to assemble all the people I've known and pluck them and try to bring them all together on one production. Because if that happens, like, I don't know where I would go from there. That feels like a
It's a beautiful script. Mm-hmm. Like you allowed me to read it, and thank you for that opportunity. And man, I hope that you get every bit of that dream crew that you want.
Oh,
like it's worth the story's worth it.
I really hope so too. I've shared it with a few people that are on board. No names shall be discussed because nothing's finalized. Sure. But yeah, I've already got good people who are good at what they do who have said they want to do this one, and I'm so thankful for that.
Good.
But yeah, like I said, if I when it comes to sound, we got people like Kevin Thorne and John Hennessy Baker, JB, making good sounds coming out of Iowa. Those two are like, it's so funny. There's like 3 fucking people in this state who can talk about what we do.
I only know of you 3, honestly.
Yeah, and that's so cool to me because then you're able to be like, all right, that's who you need to get if you want something good.
Yeah.
Whereas there's people like Bruce, and there's AP, and then there's Michael, and then there's all these DPs out there that are making such good looking stuff. Yeah. They're just like, shit, how do I choose? It just, oh God, it's going to be such a hard process, but I really, really hope to put together such a good dream team for the short, because it is a super personal film to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's any goddamn good, but we're going to find out.
It's going to be. When can we expect to see some announcements about it?
I would like to, in the next month or so, start to get pre-production well under its way, figure out the budget, maybe possibly do some crowdfunding if we can't find producers on it. And then hopefully get filming in January, February next year.
Wow.
10-minute short film. It takes place in the winter, obviously, so that's why we got to wait for that. But I probably got to get off my ass and start really pushing for that, because I can only rewrite so much before we have to just get going.
We're going to hold you to it.
Please do.
Please do. We will.
I hope to make something good.
It's painful to see projects die on the pre-production, production, or post-production floor,
Yes, it is. Oh, too many of those.
Yeah, we see too many of those.
Poor souls.
Especially post-production. Once the people have put the work in, and then it just dies on the editing room, and then we never see it. And that sucks to see. So we definitely want to help get every project onto the screen as much as we can. Hell
yeah. That's the goal. God. So excited. I'm so excited for every project I have coming forward, man. It's so great.
Yeah.
I also look forward to whatever project you guys decide to do next that you're like, oh, we should call Chase for this one.
All of them. All right. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up, man?
I love my wife, Anna. She's great.
We love Anna.
Yeah, Anna's great. She's also a writer, so that's nice. I love everybody in my office. Shout out to everybody in Nexus 6. And I love every single local Iowa filmmaker, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been doing this like me for almost 2 decades now. So shout out to every single one of you. And that's all I got to say.
All right. All the love.
All love, man. All right.
Chase Stine, everybody. Thank you very much for being on the podcast, man. We will wrap this up and catch you all next time.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
All right. Thank you.